When people think of outlaw biker clubs, they picture Hollywood versions, easy patches, roaring Harleys, and instant brotherhood. But with the Pagans, the reality is far harsher. Founded in 1957 by Lou Dobkin, with just 13 men riding Triumphs and denim jackets, they grew into one of the infamous Big Four outlaw clubs, rivaling the Hells Angels, Outlaws, and Bandidos. Under leaders like John Satan Marin, they transformed into a disciplined, militarized organization where loyalty is everything. Joining isn't a weekend hobby. It's a grueling process that can take up to 3 years, break your identity, and cost you your freedom. And yet, for those who survive it, the Brotherhood is unlike anything else on Earth. The myth versus the reality. Let's clear something up right away. Most of what people think about joining a one-percenter club like the Pagans is pure fantasy. Movies and TV make it look easy, like you just show up at a clubhouse, rev your bike, and suddenly you're wearing the patch. That's not just wrong, it's laughable. The real process is nothing like that. It's closer to joining a special forces unit mixed with a secret society. Except here, the price for messing up isn't a slap on the wrist. It could cost you your life. And here's the part outsiders never get. The Pagans don't recruit. There's no application form. You don't ask to join, you get invited. And that only happens after months, sometimes years of proving you're worthy. The foundation. What built the Pagans? Before you can understand what it takes to get into the Pagans, you need to know exactly what you're trying to join. This club didn't come out of some movie script. It started in 1957 in Prince George's County, Maryland. Lou Dobkin was the man who pulled it together, and at the start, there were just 13 of them. And here's the part most people don't realize. They weren't the leather-wearing Harley crews you picture today. In the beginning, they rolled around in blue denim jackets, riding Triumphs. Picture that for a second. It's almost hard to believe. But even then, there was a different kind of energy around them. Something that set them apart. That edge is what eventually pushed them into the ranks of the Big Four outlaw motorcycle clubs, alongside the Hells Angels, Outlaws, and Bandidos. The 4 sacred stages, your journey to brotherhood. This is where the reality really kicks in. Getting into the Pagans isn't some casual hobby you pick up on the weekends. It's not about buying a bike, slapping on a patch, and calling yourself a brother. The road in is brutal. It's long, it's humiliating at times, and it will test every ounce of who you are. We're talking about a process that can stretch anywhere from 6 months to 3 years, and that's only if you survive it. Most don't. The truth is, this path doesn't just change your schedule, it rewires your entire life. Every choice, every sacrifice, every drop of sweat and blood goes into proving that you deserve that patch. Stage 1, the hangaround, proving you exist. Before you're even considered worth a second look, you start off as what they call a hangaround. And trust me, that name isn't meant to sound cool. It's exactly what it is. You just hang around a lot. You show up at runs, you put in work, you do the dirty jobs nobody else wants, all while trying to prove you're not just another poser taking up space. But here's the catch. You don't just get to decide one day, I'm gonna be a hangaround. It doesn't work like that. You need a full member to actually sponsor you. And that sponsor, he's putting his own name and reputation on the line for you. If you screw up, he pays the price. So they're not exactly handing out those chances to every guy who buys a Harley and thinks he's ready to play outlaw. And make no mistake, during this phase, you're under a microscope. Every move you make is being judged. How you talk, how you handle pressure, how you react when things get tense, it's all being watched. The big questions are simple. Are you loyal? Can you hold your own? Do you really have the stomach for this life? Most don't. And that's why most never make it past this very first stage. Stage 2, friend of the club, earning basic recognition. If you actually make it through the hang-around stage, you might, and I mean might, get the nod to become what they call a friend of the club. This is where the game changes.
Now you're allowed into some club functions, you start getting a little closer to the fire, but don't get it twisted, you're still on thin ice. One wrong move and it's over. Here's how cutthroat it is. Just 2 negative votes from patched members and you're out. Done. Doesn't matter how many months you've been putting in work, how many miles you've ridden, or how much respect you thought you'd earned. One bad day, one wrong word, one look someone doesn't like, and it's finished. There's no appeals, no do-overs, no second chances. And this is where the real mind games begin. You're close enough to see the brotherhood, close enough to taste the life you're chasing, but you're still on the outside looking in. And that's by design. The pressure, the constant uncertainty, it's all psychological warfare. It's meant to crack the weak ones before they get any further. If you don't have the mental steel for this stage, you'll never survive what's waiting down the line.
Stage 3, prospect. Welcome to hell. If you thought the first 2 stages were brutal, the prospect phase will make them look like a warm-up. This is the point where boys get separated from men, where your loyalty, your endurance, and your sanity are pushed to the edge. As a prospect, you're not treated like an equal, you're treated like a servant. If a patch member wants something, you drop everything and deliver. Prospect, go grab me a burger. Prospect, wash my bike. Prospect, I need you to drive 300 miles tonight to pick up a package. You don't argue, you don't question, and you sure as hell don't complain. You just do it. But the errands are only half of it. The real test is psychological. They mess with your head on purpose. Here's a story straight from an undercover agent who infiltrated the Pagans. One night, members tossed a set of club colors at him. Now, as a prospect, you're forbidden from touching colors, but at the same time, you're not allowed to let them touch the ground. No matter what move you make, you lose. He caught the jacket and instantly got hit with a bang check, a brutal palm strike to the forehead that left him seeing stars. None of this is random. Every humiliation, every impossible scenario, every no-win setup is part of the process. They're watching to see if you'll snap under pressure, if you'll turn on the club when things get ugly, if you're really willing to bleed, sweat, and sacrifice for the brotherhood. Because if you can't handle hell, you'll never earn heaven, at least not the kind the Pagans promise. Stage 4, patched member, the blood brotherhood. If you've made it this far, and most never do, you finally earn your patch. But don't mistake this for some kind of happy ending or some kind of graduation. What you've really done is step into an even heavier level of commitment. Becoming a patched member means your life is no longer just yours. It belongs to the club. When they call, you answer. When they fight, you fight. And if they hand you something that could put you behind bars, or worse, 6 feet under, you do it without hesitation. This isn't exaggeration. This isn't Hollywood drama. This is the reality of 1%er life. A blood oath to the brotherhood, where loyalty isn't suggested, it's demanded. The unspoken rules nobody talks about. Getting through the official stages is brutal enough, but there's a whole other layer most outsiders never hear about. These are the unspoken rules, the ones carved into the culture, and they're non-negotiable. The motorcycle mandate. First, you must ride a Harley-Davidson, not a Triumph, not a Honda, not some custom build, a Harley. This isn't about brand worship, it's about tradition and uniformity. Funny enough, in a world that prides itself on individualism, everyone's riding the same kind of machine. And just owning one isn't enough. You've got to ride it. A lot. Most clubs expect serious mileage every year. If you're not putting those miles in, you're not living the life.
The price of admission. What you're really sacrificing. Here's the part almost nobody talks about. Joining a 1%er club isn't just adding something to your life. It's erasing the life you had before. Legal consequences. Here's the cold truth. The second you patch into a 1%er club like the Pagans, you're on law enforcement's radar. You might never touch a drug deal or swing a fist in a bar fight, but it doesn't matter. To cops, you're guilty by association. From that moment on, you live under surveillance. Traffic stops turn into interrogations. Background checks suddenly raise red flags. Entire career paths vanish overnight because of the patch on your back. Choosing this life means choosing to live under a microscope, and that microscope is held by men with badges, guns, and a reason to keep you in their sights. The brotherhood bond. What makes it worth it? So why do men still walk into this life knowing exactly what's waiting for them? Why give up freedom, comfort, even family for a patch? Because what the pagans offer is something most people today will never experience. Real brotherhood. Not your drinking buddies, not your LinkedIn network. We're talking about men who would literally bleed and die for each other. Your bike breaks down at 3 a.m. in the middle of nowhere, one phone call and brothers are already on the road. Facing heavy legal trouble, the club rallies money, lawyers, whatever it takes. Life knocks you flat, you've got a family that won't let you stay down. But here's the price. Loyalty is absolute. If a brother calls and says, "We need you, there's a situation with a rival club," you don't hesitate, you don't ask questions, you grab your gear and go. That's the paradox of the pagan code. You gain bonds stronger than blood, but the trade-off is brutal. You lose almost everything else that ties you to the outside world. Modern challenges, the changing landscape. The outlaw world isn't frozen in time. Even clubs as rooted in tradition as the pagans are facing a reality the old guard never had to deal with. Social media changed the game. What was once a tight circle of secrecy is now harder to protect when every prospect has a phone in his pocket and every move risks ending up online. And while the clubs adapt, law enforcement has adapted faster. Their surveillance tools are sharper, their undercover work more advanced, and their pressure on these clubs has never been stronger. Then there's the new generation of prospects. A lot of them grew up on instant gratification, constant scrolling, and quick rewards. That mindset doesn't line up with the long grind, patience, and discipline a 1%er life demands. And let's not forget money. The biker lifestyle was built on blue-collar work, trucking, construction, factory shifts. Those jobs aren't what they used to be. Less stability, less pay. That financial strain doesn't just hit individual members, it hits the clubs themselves. The pagan code may not change, but the world around it sure has.
The ultimate question. So, what does it really take to wear that pagan patch and call yourself part of a 1%er club? The truth is simple but brutal. It takes everything. Your time, your money, your family, your freedom, even the person you used to be. All of it gets laid down for the brotherhood. It means accepting that life as you knew it is gone. You're stepping into a world most people call criminal, dangerous, even toxic. You're walking away from safety and comfort, trading it for something raw, unpredictable, and relentless. And here's the part most people never grasp. This isn't a hobby, it isn't a phase, and it sure as hell isn't a game. It's a commitment that will shape every choice you make until your very last day. The pagan code isn't written in books or carved into walls. It's burned into the mind of every brother. Club comes first. No excuses, no exceptions. That's the true price of admission into one of the most feared, misunderstood, and exclusive brotherhoods in America. The real question isn't whether you can pay that price. It's whether you're willing to live with the consequences that come with it. Because the road to becoming a pagan has no maps, no shortcuts, and no easy exits. It's written in scars, in sacrifice, and in a loyalty deeper than most people will ever experience. And once you take that first step, there's only one way forward, all the way to the end.